pleased to present to you my 2003 Nissan Altima, formerly Street X champion, now Ultra X. I'm here to hopefully prove that sound quality still wins competitions and a solid install will remain intact. So I'd love to show you in the next 9 minutes and 50 seconds how I did this install. You'll notice the factory battery was retained. All of the terminations were improved. All terminations were executed within the IASCA rulebook. All terminations were completed with non-conductive material and sleeving. As a unique idea applied to overall creativity, I used a labeled heat shrink. You'll notice that within 18 inches of the battery is an ICB 500 computer-controlled intelligent circuit breaker. That's approximately 5 inches using a custom fabricated aluminum bus bar. The system power was routed underneath the vehicle and protective sleeving to protect the vehicle's power supply. You'll notice that the engine is completely clean and lots of attention to detail here. If I can draw your attention into the passenger compartment. See any flashy carbon fiber and no flashy fiberglass. What you have here is a straightforward OEM installation, because the reason why I did that is no one else does it anymore, and I think that's creative. We have a creative use of space, we have creativity and attention to detail. We have creativity in the use of materials, exotic materials. So let's begin. In each door panel we have a 6.5-inch mid-base, which was mounted in a heavily modified door panel. Door panel was removed and several layers of Be Quiet sound damping was used to dampen the doors. Use of exotic materials, we have the mid-base mounted in a birch baffle. Birch was used instead of MDF for its rigidity. Using stainless steel hardware, all of the hardware throughout the vehicle is consistent. There's one type of hardware used throughout the install. Down in the kick panels, we have a lightly modified kick panel assembly using an OEM kick panel. We've got a 3-inch dome mid-range which has been mounted. That was pretty freaking funny. Down there, mid-range, which was mounted using the consistent type of hardware, stainless steel, to match the consistency and the theme of the installation. You notice the installation is black with silver trim, matching the factory OEM consistency. Up in the pillar, what we have here is a 1-inch dome mid-range, once again using consistent hardware. You'll notice that attention to detail, even the grain of the fabric goes with consistent with the longitudinal axis of the panel for attention to detail. All of these speakers were decoupled, obviously using that material. In the center the dashboard, we have a Japanese specification head unit, once again completely optimized for sound quality operation. You'll notice also that I've got the car running completely orange dashboard array. The head unit display color has been changed from blue to orange. As an attention to detail item, also for a cosmetic integration, once again silver with black, completely cosmetic integrated with the install. Down in the center console area here, you can feel there's 3 fuses and 2 switches. The 3 fuses are for the head unit, for the liquid cooling pump, and the liquid cooling fans in the trunk. The 2 switches are to turn the liquid cooling pump on and the fans on. Located in the center console, we have a unique idea here applied to installation. We have an ODR remote control, which is mounted on an aluminum bracket, which was painted to match, again, cosmetic theme here. If I can draw your attention to the back area.
I'll swatch with you guys.
Back area, we have what is my favorite part of the system. We have six very large amplifiers, which are mounted to a steel rack. The steel rack was made out of 1-inch and 1/2-inch tubular steel and was arc welded together. Now each arc weld was further primed so to kind of give it a little contoured look, so you don't have a really hard welded edge. Now what happened here is the C-pillars are actually removable. There's 2 bolts on top, 2 bolts on the bottom. I removed these, welded the bar to the C-pillar, and bolted the C-pillars back in. So essentially the rack is now welded to the car for all intents and purposes. Of course, consistent with the theme of the installation, we have an amp rack which was fabricated out of the steel, painted black, silver equipment. So not only does the head unit match and the hardware used to secure the speakers match, but the amplifiers and processor match as well. The original cosmetic theme of the vehicle, that being black and silver. Once again, use of labeled heat shrink as an attention to detail item, as well as an overall creativity item. You're probably wondering what the power distribution block is. We don't need it. We have immediate access to all of the fuses, including the onboard fuse on the processor. Notice the attention to detail in the wiring structure, wire ties every 4 inches approximately, grading of the speaker wire, attention to detail on how all of the wires exit the amplifier rack. Plenty of integrity here. You can certainly move the car with the amplifier rack, and this was done certainly to optimize the use of space, which is an overall creativity item in this vehicle. I think you'll find that my competition has pretty much optimized every bloody area in their vehicle, and they have absolutely no room left over. That's what makes my car different. to the trunk, please. Once again, to optimize the use of space, we have three 12-inch woofers. The three 12-inch woofers were mounted in, once again, an exotic plywood baffle instead of MDF. The use of exotic materials as an overall creativity item. These three 12-inch subwoofers are corner-loaded in a quasi fifth-order enclosure which vents through the rear deck. Vents through those 6x9 holes. So what we have here is we have a very large trunk area acting as an enclosure, which creates a very, very nice low base output. When you normally have low base output, you sacrifice sensitivity. You can't usually have both. But because I'm firing these subwoofers into a rear deck with two 6x9 holes, you're getting the volume increase as well. You're getting a corner loading effect of about 4.5 to 5 dB. Once again, birch baffle. You'll notice that the baffle has been fabricated right into the factory molding, and it's actually painted into the car for cosmetic integration. The sides as well made up into the underside of the body of the vehicle. 4 full tips of PL400 subfloor adhesive were used to secure this, as well as several tapping screws into the metal of the vehicle. It's very strong. We have the front view of the amplifier rack here, once again tiered to show off the labels of the amplifiers. Very, very strong use of space here, as well as integrity. Now, one unique item here I'd like to point out is a custom liquid cooling device, which I fabricated using CPU equipment that I purchased from a company that makes equipment to cool liquid cool computer cases. Basically analyte-free water is being cycled through these heat sinks up into the reservoir, through the radiator where it's cooled, cycled back by the pump and down and back into a gas, a completely closed loop system. If there was a leak, I used GCMS certified laboratory grade analyte-free water. Analyte-free water means that it's non-conductive. There's no analytes in the water. So if there were to be a leak, there would be no, sparks, basically. One other overall creativity item here is I have a spare tire. None of my competition does. I can still get to my spare tire. Likewise, on this side, I still have my factory jack. You'll notice that this area here probably has a specific function. I have two babies. My baby stroller fits right here perfectly. My wife uses the vehicle quite often to run errands. I drive this car 70 miles a day, and I'm pretty proud that I was able to basically use the available space to my benefit and create a nice and solid installation with a focus on sound quality. Now, I kind of get the feeling here that you guys really aren't convinced yet. You're looking pretty weak here, and Steve, I don't get it. So I think you'll agree that this is a 3,800-pound car. I'm now pushing my 3,800-pound car with my amp rack. I'm now going to pull the car backwards. You'll agree it's 3,800 pounds of equipment using a subwoofer. Okay, let's talk about overall creativity a little bit. Okay, this was a street car, but hopefully you guys would agree with me that there are some creativity items in here. Use of space. No other car in my class has adequate use of space. Use of exotic materials. Use of security hardware, all consistent throughout the vehicle. Consistency in theme. There's no diversion in theme. What you see under the hood is what you see in the passenger compartment, which is what you see in the trunk. There's not fiberglass panels back here and vinyl panels up here. Craftsmanship. Pretty self-explanatory. System architecture. I can change an amp out in about 5 or 10 minutes. Same with a subwoofer. I'd like to see my competition do that. Logical wire routing and easy fuse access. Didn't even need a fuse box. All of the wires have been routed securely, and I can get to the onboard fuses. Ease of serviceability. I mentioned that briefly a moment ago. Cosmetic integration. You notice that everything cosmetically integrates with each other. Amps match the subs, match the head unit, match the processor, match the car's dashboard features. Attention to detail. Once again, even factory Christmas trees have been aligned. You'll look in the engine compartment, everything has been aligned north, south, east, and west. Even the B and C pillars have been covered, even though I didn't need to, for cosmetic integration and attention to detail. Computer-controlled circuit breaker under the hood. Head unit display color transformation to orange to match the dashboard. Liquid cooling system. Corner venting IB subwoofer system, basically a quasi-fifth order subwoofer system. Labeled heat shrink. Not a whole lot of people are using labeled heat shrink. I think it's a creative item. Wiring display and cosmetics, the logical wire routing, and a spare tire. Oh, and the photo documentation and presentation. I'm not sure if anyone else has pushed their car forward yet with their install, but hopefully I'm the first, so I would really appreciate if you guys look for the overall creativity book and use it as your guide when you're scoring that feature. Thank you.